Kristen McVie quotes, "Interviewer, did it take a lot to rebuild the trust back in the band after all the different things you'd been through?" Christine, I don't think the emotional, the musical trust ever went away. That's always been an underlying thread to this band, to the magic that we think we have with each other. I think that that's part of it, is that there's never any musical dissension in the camp. Is that the word? We always seem to kind of agree basically on musical things. Interview, 1987. Interviewer, did you ever get to a point in this band where you knew each other so well? I mean, you two were married. Stevie and Lindsay had a relationship. Is it hard to get up night after night and sing, you know, your repertoire of songs when there is a lot of emotional tension on stage? Christine, I think that releases the emotional tension, to be honest with you. I always think that no matter what's gone on prior to, treading the boards at night, I think we all kind of leave that behind when we're on stage, and you tend to even put more feeling into the songs, I think. Interview, 1987. Another thing is, the pressure is on you when you're doing a solo record. When you come together with, 4 friend and trusted other musicians, you feel like you've got a very strong shoulder to lean on that's not about to collapse under you, Interview, 1987. I think there's always a certain amount of romance on our records. I mean, that's because I'm writing some of the songs. I always write about romance. Interview, 1987. We all sensed that perhaps Lindsay would leave first. I mean, the very thought of one band member leaving was catastrophic to us because we all felt that each one of us was irreplaceable. Behind the Music, Fleetwood Mac, remastered, 2010. I think when the big time really came to Fleetwood Mac, we were all like over 30 and I don't think this really changed us very much at all. It hasn't changed me, I don't think. 2 on the Town, 1982. When we were doing Tusk, I suppose, there was a parting of the ways a little bit, at least from a musical point of view, Behind the Music, Fleetwood Mac, remastered, 2010. About the recording of Rumors, I think that it was the only way we could really communicate with each other at that point was through the music, and it was the only platform on which we had everything completely in common. Behind the Music, Fleetwood Mac, remastered, 2010. We're getting on really well. I mean, there's always lots of stories about Fleetwood Mac and we're breaking up or we're not breaking up and this, that, and the other. We've lived like that for the last 7 years with this configuration of people, and I mean, we could go on for another 10 years. Who knows? 2 on the Town, 1982. I remember going to see Fleetwood Mac before I even joined it. I used to trail them around, because I thought they were so great. Behind the Music, Fleetwood Mac, remastered, 2010. It's a strange thing, but I mean, I almost can predict what John and Mick are gonna play, even Lindsay to a degree. I can sense them when we're playing on stage. I could. And it's a sort of, not a premonition, but it's a sort of a certain knowledge of people that it's just something that gives you goosebumps, and I don't know what that is. In the meantime, EPK, 2004. Interviewer. Was that sort of surreal, to play for that tuxedo, dressed up crowd? Christine. No, but they got into it. They were all standing up, and even old Prez got up, didn't he? I mean, Mr. President got up. John. Sorry, Bill. The Dance Interview, 1997. Interviewer. You said you didn't think you had a rock star personality. What is that rock star personality? Christine. Well, extrovert egomaniac, which I don't qualify as being part of my character at all. I can be an extrovert. Depends on how drunk I am. Rock and Roll Women, 1980. We were always quite democratic musically. I mean, we never seemed to argue much about anything musical, really. Everything else, but not so much music. All-Star Jams, 2004. I never feel that far away from them. I mean, I think the five of us have a really, even though I'm not there anymore, I do feel a tremendous draw to them. I can't. There's not a day when I don't think about Fleetwood Mac, when I don't think about Mick and John, and Mick and John in particular, because they go back so far. In the meantime, EPK, 2004. On relationships within the band. Christine. It's been a long time since any of that sort of really bad animosity was hanging around between the couples, the ex-couples as it were. I mean, John, shut up, joking. Christine, you know what I mean, John. I mean, so, John's been married to his present wife for far longer than he was ever married to me. John, 19 years yesterday. Christine, 19 years yesterday. Congratulations, Johnny. Oh, right, so, so yeah, that's water under the bridge, or wine under the bridge, whatever. The Dance Interview, 1997. Christine, so I had no idea that I was gonna end up in a rock and roll band. I mean, I started off being an art student. I got my diploma, art teaching diploma, and now I don't know how I probably just started playing the piano one night and something came out of my mouth like a voice and someone said that they thought I could sing. Interviewer, did that surprise you? Christine, yeah, because I didn't think I could sing, even after the first few songs I ever recorded. I thought I was awful, you know? Rock and Roll Women, 1980, on how she came to be involved with the dance. Christine, I guess it started, as Lindsay said, when I went down to the studio and played a bit of keyboard and a bit of singing on his album, and there was a particular afternoon when John came down and there was, in fact, 4 of the 5 Fleetwood Mac in the room at the same time, which is, I believe I mentioned it at the time, this is weird. John, but nice. Christine, weird but nice, weird but great. The Dance Interview, 1997. Sometimes I don't play the piano for weeks. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but months. And it depends. I'll have to fit what I really fancy because I have music in the house. Sheet music and classical music and all kinds of stuff. Christmas carols, of course. And sometimes it's a really great pleasure to sit at the piano on a rainy afternoon, like this for example, and plow my way through a bit of Mozart. It may take me 3 days, but it's really nice to sort of try to remember how to sight read. But I don't do it. I don't do it religiously, no. In the meantime, EPK, 2004. Interviewer, how is it on the road? Is it interesting or fun? Christine, oh, both. It's also a drag. You know what I mean? It's a hodgepodge of everything, really. I mean, especially now, of course. We've made a reasonable amount of money, so there's nothing draggish about the actual touring or traveling. I don't like living out of a suitcase, but then I had a trunk made. So I've now got a traveling wardrobe, which is, you can spoil yourself, Now it's easy. Everything is done for us. Everything. But we've earned that, and we've earned the money to be able to spoil ourselves in that way, to make touring easier for us. We have a private plane and a limousine waiting to, right at the front of the stairs to the plane. That's why we have to watch our weight a lot because we never get to do any exercise. Rock and Roll Women, 1980. Christine, this man is my nephew, Dan Perfect. Dan, I was excited by the idea, but nervous too, and very flattered that Chris thought I might be up to producing anything of musical value. Christine, laughs. He was the only one I knew. Dan, there you go. By default, I got the job. In the meantime, EPK, 2004. You don't have to be a bitch to be successful. In this business. Rock and Roll Women, 1980. About writing in the meantime. Writing music, that's how I find my self-expression. Other people do other things.